Hello everyone and welcome to the newest video. Today we will be showcasing the deck that I intend to play in the community tournament organized by jgsnowbaorder, called When Life Gives You Irial. It is a pretty simple Flamedawn double Overseers of Solace deck based upon the idea of aggression. I intend to use a straightforward aggressive archetype to hopefully make up for differences in skill. Our game plan is mostly based around playing strong, unique characters, giving them charge through the use of Champion's Herald that we play single in command zone and free in main deck. The biggest part of strategy is using a good strong free drop on turn 2 by dropping the Herald on turn 1. The free drops that we intend for that are Irial, Champion of Tenacity, Gabrielle, the Torch in the Dark, and Kali the Flaming Blade, who is a solid body. The cards that we run also synergize pretty well with the other commander, who is Tempus, Champion of Patience. Thanks to Irial's effect, as well as playing Cornicen and number of other angels, she can become a solid threat. And finally, our commander is Aberion, Champion of Force, who is a solid distraction requiring an answer, and if we manage to put him on the field, he can be a good threat. We also run some of the classics of the archetype, namely Soul, Champion of Vengeance, and Lucca Ascended, who can be pretty good together and manage for us to make a better use of our angels. For the latter purpose, we also have Cassial the Betrayed, who can either be an emergency blocker or can give us the Cassial's Grave to further boost our angels. We also run Believer of Paragons. It got nerfed a little bit from its original reworked form and now needs to be on the battlefield to use its effect, but it's still a pretty solid choice to make our Irial or maybe Tempus slightly more robust during the combat phase. Hopefully we can get a game or two from the good players that showed up, or maybe we'll run in someone of our skill level. Let's wait for the bracket to be decided and wish me luck. And our first game is going to be against Duelist777. Let's see what he cooked for us. Well, double Flamedawn and Leapers. So we are probably going to be looking at an Infected Knight, and seeing that the Scully Reluctant Leader, we can certainly expect some shenanigans with Aspirants. Unlucky draw, not a single free cost card. Let's mulligan once. Well, seems like our free cost option is Kali the Flaming Blade. Not the best hand we could have gotten, but we will play with the hand that we have been dealt. And as expected, we are seeing some aspirants, and they will probably be filling a graveyard if we try to play defensively. Sadly, Kali, despite being solid body, is not furthering our Tempus game plan. And it is a shame we did not get Irial in our opening hand, that would have been much more useful. Well, with that kind of hand, I say that probably our best chance is in deploying Tempus and Cornicen. We can use Cornicen and its token for block later, and we will put out Champion's Herald for some additional bust to Tempus. We are being out-tempoed slightly, but hopefully some champ blockers will help us. Next turn we can probably try Soul Loyalist to try and get some more power in our assault zone. Of course, Kali activation. Kali activation and Herald. Oof. This is going to be quite unpleasant. So, presumably after tagging Kali for 4, he's going to use Flamedawn Commando to try and block her and deny us 10 points of damage. We can try to prevent that with our own Flamedawn Commando on his Flamedawn Commando. By this point it is probably a little bit late to try for Irial plan, so we might see about putting Kali Ascended straight into the battlefield on the next turn. And this turn we will play Soul Loyalist, who has added advantage of having 8 points of health, which will make him a decent blocker who might potentially sting 2 attacks from enemy. At this point it might be a time to play a little bit desperate and try to move Tempus into the defense zone to try and get a little bit of the pressure off us. And we can use Fiery Ascension with Irial, making her much more difficult to stop, as well as giving us a supply of small champ blockers. Next turn we can probably look to banish the Drill Sergeant. We are in a pretty dire straits because we are looking at lethal from the opponent. Sadly, nothing we can play is outstanding in a defense department. Our best bet is trying to block with Cassial the Betrayed, and we are still keeping 11 damage charge in the form of Irial, the Champion of Tenacity. We have been damned, but a somewhat slow starting hand. Let's see. Seven, 11, 15. Well, there is a non-zero chance that we will be able to survive this turn. Probably not able to get a little next turn, but let's see if we can play for a tie. Ah. Akulas was difficult for us. Let's see if we want to do some sideboarding. And here we go with game number 2. We did not sideboard anything really. Our sideboard is full of tech for situations other than aggro. We will just have to try to outrace Duelist this time around, and with Irial in our opening hand, making our Tempus slightly better and giving us tokens, as well as Evict and Banish, we might have a chance. It is not a great matchup for us, but it is not hopeless. I am expecting some kind of counters for flying around this time, possibly removals, let's see. Well, it seems like we are in a full-out race. May the faster deck win. Next turn we are probably looking to play Lucca and haste Kali in our hand using Champion's Herald, but we might look at playing our control options. Yes, and this time around, having a way to generate tokens gives us at least a chance to stop bleeding and get a better position in the race. I am fully expecting him to try to deal with Irial, so we'll put Forerunner of Champions to try and clear anything he has for Irial. We will drop another Sacrificial Angel here. And yes, let's try to get Kali Ascendant for 5 on the next, for 3 on the next turn. And let's boost our existing angels with help of Lucca. Barely, but we are still keeping ahead in the race. Duelist obviously went slightly more into the Flamedawn's bounce effects, which can help him get the damage through. But, well, we don't have much choice. Onwards and upwards. We could play Champion's Herald here, or we can put out a Fiery Ascension and make our Gabrielle a little bit stronger, and potentially use her with charge to hopefully push past the finish line. I have made small mistake with ordering Irial and Tempus. Irial's attack creating the token could have buffed Tempus. I have lost about 2 or 3 points of damage on that, and if I lose by that much, it will be a blunder on my part. Duelist is down to 14 points of health, which means that Aberion is enough to kill him, especially since he is buffed by Lucca. And it also means that we can put all of our other characters in defense. With the color combination that he's running, there are very few things that he can use to deal with Aberion, so there is a non-zero chance that it will strike. And we are putting Tempus to the forward. She can tank the most and kill most of the attackers he has. Deadly on the Karen Creeper is going to remove her, but hopefully, even if we don't get the lethal this turn, it will stop enough of his attackers to give us the chance. And just like that, with a better starting hand, we've managed to tie the match at 1-1. And we are heading into game 3. This is the one for all the marbles. That is a terrible opening hand. Let's see if we can get something slightly better. Oh. To be honest, I am uncertain if I should mulligan here or try to save this one. Going down to 3 cards feels so bad, but our whole plan hinges on a strong opening, and with this hand we are not in good position. Well, it is not a great hand, but it is the best one we had. Let's see if Gabrielle gives us enough time to try and survive. That is a very strong opening from Duelist. And of course we only get Irial now. I am honestly not certain whether I should play her next turn. Yes, I will play her next turn just to ensure we have some tokens. It is slow compared to previous game, but gives us a better chance to try and survive long enough, even if it's not a great chance. Then again, yeah, playing Champions Herald and Tempus here is also an option, because we would like to get Soul out as fast as possible, but not a good hand, definitely. I have bad feeling about this one. Yeah, this is rough. We will play Champions Herald here and put out Irial. We can use Champions Herald on Soul next turn and try to play Lucca on 5. And right now we are going to Flamedawn Commando on the Noble Protector to just try and buy as much time as possible. At least Gabrielle is decent against the aspirant strategies, because she's doubling their cost, making them much less appealing, but at the current pace this is going to be a challenge. Well, we've managed to slow the bleeding a little, and with Cornicen and Lucca we are looking at non-zero chance of Champ blocking our way out of this. It is not a great chance, but it is a non-zero chance. And once again, ordering with Tempus and Irial is suboptimal, though probably not suboptimal enough to cost me the game. Hopefully. Right now, the champ blockers are our biggest hope of survival. And we might just as well play both Champion Herald. They will serve either as champ blockers or to boost whatever we draw, but most importantly they are going to make Tempus slightly stronger. And honestly, at this point I am even willing to sacrifice Lucca to defense, mainly because if we draw another copy of her, our best chance is to play it, and given she's unique, it would be impossible with one on the board. And in a very lucky break, we have managed to keep up at least a little bit. I think that at this point, Champions Heralds are less important to us as their ability is less important than blocking the incoming damage. And thankfully most of our main damage dealers do have flying, which makes them pretty strong for the purpose of bypassing possible blockers, especially in those colors. And of course Aberion is also very difficult to deal once he hits the board. And despite an early setback, we managed to claw back this one. See you in the next game when the bracket is updated.